So you mentioned that the sellers in the auction will get equal payouts no matter what they bid. Why is that?
So actually, there's several different rules for sharing the buyer's payment. This is an unusual auction in that the buyer's payment goes to the other bidders, the sellers, rather than going to the seller who's a non-bidder in the standard auction. So the reason that equal shares make sense, so basically if there's, let's say 3 people are bidding for an item and the clearing price is $4 million. So in that case, the buyer's payment is $4 million, and that would be split equally among the 2 sellers, the 2 that did not have the highest value. So it would be split 2 million, 2 million. Why would that make sense? It would seem, suppose one of those 2 dropped out at a price of $100,000. That is, the second seller was doing all the work in pushing the price up, presumably because they had a much higher value than the first bidder that dropped out. The advantage of equal shares is that it doesn't motivate the seller to bid substantially above their value. If instead we use the alternative of proportionate payment, in which case, in my example, let's say one bidder is dropping out at $4 million, which is setting the price, the other bidder is dropping out at $100,000, under the proportionate rule, the seller's payment is proportionate to their bid, their highest bid, in which case the second highest bidder, the $4 million bidder, would get 40 times the payment of the $100,000 bidder. The problem with that is, if you think about it for a moment, that low value bidder, the one that just wants to bid up to $100,000, they have a very strong incentive to bid much higher than $100,000. In fact, their incentive under the proportionate rule is to effectively guess the clearing price and bid the clearing price. If they know that the clearing price is going to be $4 million, that the last guy is going to drop out, or rather the second to last guy is going to drop out at $4 million, then that $100,000 dropout, they want to drop out at $4 million. And so the proportionate rule sharply distorts the bidder's incentives, and in particular motivates the low value sellers to bid dramatically above their actual values. That's a problem. Because essentially if all the bidders are trying to guess the clearing price, some of them are going to guess high, some of them are going to guess low, and we sacrifice the efficiency of the outcome, because the winner is going to be the one that guesses high, and it could actually be that one of the sellers, the ones with the lower bid, actually have a much higher value. And that's problematic. And so that's the reason that equal shares actually does better from an efficiency perspective. And in fact, in terms of a payment perspective, the expected payment, at least in the simplest model, where people's values are randomly distributed, but all the values are drawn independently from the same probability distribution, it actually doesn't make any difference what the probability distribution is, then all those different sharing rules, they cause distortions in the bids in such a way that the expected payment from the buyer and to the sellers collectively is identical.